Happy New Year. What's going on? This is a big headline. Big. We'll hit this. I think it's probably the biggest news in AI. And probably telling us what 2026 is all about. Yeah, that's live. All right, cool. Okay. So let's talk about silver just for a minute. So we had a pretty good collapse. I'm going to post underneath this. I asked Manus to go look at some quotes about how much silver is needed to build out data centers. And there's about a dozen quotes, and I'll connect them at the end of this. You know, some people could take me to task and say, well, why don't you do it? Because it would take me 2 hours, and it takes Manus like 11 minutes to do that kind of work. And that's a good little, I've been paying $19.95 a month. I haven't used the big heavy duty one that's $200 a month. But let's talk about this. Manus is only worth about $1 billion. I don't think it's been public yet what the actual number is. But remember, Meta is worth a big, big number. And of course, Trump walks around. Meta's worth 1.66 trillion. And it just paid $1 billion or thereabouts, like 750 million or something, for its new big AI like platform. And it's my thesis that all these people you see walking around, from Elon Musk to David Sachs to Chamath Palihapitiya, all these Americans, and of course Trump with his $22 trillion that doesn't exist and all that, they don't have anything, people. They don't fucking have anything. I mean, Meta has like $80 billion in the checking account. And what did they all do for 2025? They all went all in on large language models. Large language models are not very effective at much at anything. Right? When I tell Manus to go find me a couple quotes about the use of silver in data, in data centers, I don't need it to scrape every single fucking thing that's ever been made about silver and data centers. I just need 12 quotes, right? And I was just off the phone with a guy who I think we're going to become like really pretty significant partners. He's a developer. I said, understand, when you're dealing with OpenAI, it's training you. Okay, everybody, Preston Rhodes, Nate, all the good AI people, Superintelligence AI, all the people that I quote on here all the time. And over a year ago, I was listening to CJ Townbridge, who I don't see very much anymore on TikTok, but I was hearing all these people talk about local AI, and I was like, wait a minute, like you're telling me something 180 degrees different from the OpenAI story, that we're going to turn West Texas into one big large language model and it's going to dominate everything and touch the face of God. And I know how goofy that sounds, but right here's the book if you've never seen it. Here's the book, Building God. They really do believe that they're building God. And here's this book. the last chapter of Man God. Homo Deus is man God. The last chapter is called the data religion. The more data you have, the closer you become to God. Okay, that's just factually not the case, but that's okay. Let's all calm down. Okay, these people don't know what the fuck they're doing. You understand this? Well, what do you know? You're like sitting in your sweater, like, these people control billions of dollars. I understand that. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And that's why, remember the metaverse? Remember that fiasco? How many hundreds of billions of dollars have been pissed away into the metaverse and the goggles and all this stuff? Let's all calm down. But China is doing it a different way. China is not trying to touch the face of God with data centers like we are, right? Because America is really in a religious problem. That's for Sunday. We'll do that on Sunday. But really, if you have any sort of spiritualness to you, just the sight of this book should piss you off. Oh, the man God. Oh, like, this is the guy that everybody thinks is like, he's the smartest guy in the room. If you open the first pages, it's the Wall Street Journal and all the neocons and all the generals and oh my God, hurrah. It's a joke, people. There's no data religion. And the guy that wins the best argument for the whole thing is fucking Tim Dillon, who says they're trying to build a demon. They're trying to build, there you go. I know you wanted to see it. They're trying to build a demon. A one-eyed demon. It's Dajjal, by the way. I do lots of hours and hours and hours of work on here where I explain to you that they're building Dajjal. I'm not making this up. And Dajjal has a sidekick. And if you're Arabic, you can correct me in the DMs. It's like Al-Jassasa or something, Jassasa or something like that. I can't do the Arabic part. But Dajjal, this is according to the Quran and the Hadith, which is the spoken. I've learned a lot about this from my own research and people helping me. That sounds exactly like Palantir. The sidekick of Dajjal, according to Islamic eschatology, is Palantir. So let's get back to business. For those of us who are try to remain based in reality, I just got off the phone with a developer in upstate New York, and I'm like, dude, I want you to be our beta. Like, we're gonna push all this tech and the legal documents and the tokenization and everything on you. He's like, bring it on, let's do it. And then he asked, like, well, how is this gonna work? And I said, the difference is, we're not going to the 845 area code to touch the face of God. We're going to the 845 area code to build some shit. And that's the difference with agentic AI, is because the more you refine it, right? This is almost like the history of alchemy in science, right? Alchemy was the attempt to make gold through magic. And what grew out of that was science. They're two different things, people. They sort of overlap. They have some like witchiness in between them, right? That's a whole nother Guinness right there. But agentic is winning. And I just told the guy I got off the phone with, I was like, if Meta is buying Manus, we're doing multi-agent shit in-house. That's what Agent Hub is. Do you get the joke here? Like, not because I'm like a tech guy, it's because I read books like that and go, that's silly, that's dumb, they're going to piss hundreds of billions of dollars away into that and it's not going to work, right? Have you seen the video of them outside Memphis with the Grok AI Center? And it's just like this ecological disaster of like all the gas turbines and then the backup are diesel engines running generators, and you can just hear the roar of this thing, right? It's not about LLMs, people. It's not about turning West Texas into one big server farm. It's just you just don't really understand the tech if you think that that's what it is. Um, we're going to build agents for like, so I got on, his name's David. I was like, David, like we talked about like a partnership for like 10 grand. I was like, do the 10 grand. We'll give you all the documents, all the tokenization, all the agents. I'll put you in contact with the developer. And I'm like, he can make you a multi-agent that does like the excavating and the site development, and one that does the finance, and one that looks at the real estate market. We're primarily looking at real estate. Um, the tokenization. The reason we haven't passed out tokens yet is because I called Agent Hub and said, "Can you guys do this with an agent?" And they're like, "Yeah, let me go build it." So that's why we've been a little bit slow. Going into 2026, we're going all in on this, folks. Okay? I don't need to explain all the conspiracy theories to you anymore. I explained those to you 3 years ago. Everything that's happening, Erica Kirk, Somaliland. I explained it to you 3 years ago. Just to hit on the new one. Okay, they just cut off a piece of Somalia and called it Somaliland. They're probably going to move the Palestinians there. And at the same time, there's a big Somali organized crime operation in the Midwest. Coincidence? No, it's Death Star. It's not hard, people. This isn't hard. Just whenever you see something like this, you just, oh my God, there's a whole bunch of nursery schools or whatever they're called. I haven't even really paid attention to it. And they're run by Somalis, and there's nobody there, and billions and billions and billions have been looted from the state government and disappeared, and nobody knows where I just look at that and just go, Death Star. What do you mean? It's Somali immigrants. And I go, no, that's organized crime. America's run by organized crime. That's what we're learning from the Epstein files. America's run. There's not like the American government and like some shady shit on the side. That's like the Godfather movie. The government is the shady shit. And the rest of us are out here in the real world. Which leads us to the next thing. Musical interlude. Which leads us to the next thing, which is, I am going to try to keep these really short. So I think what we're going to have to do is going into the new year, the LLM. I mean, I posted the paper from, of all places, NVIDIA, which is what, the second or third. I think the price of silver is pretty soon going to be the second largest asset. It's going to be gold, silver, and then NVIDIA. NVIDIA, an internal white paper said, the future of AI is small language models. Okay, where are you going with that? Well, you can take the small language model and you can put it on your some sort of high-end computer. Okay, and these things understand that like an M5 Apple laptop has more firepower than the computer that used to run PNC Bank when I was born. Right? And other people could throw those numbers around. I don't know what the numbers are, but like literally you have more computing power from like a $1,700 laptop with this new the chip was built, my son does this, by the way. The chip was built internal to Apple. Google did the same thing. This is why NVIDIA is not what people think it is. They're making chips that are like a sandwich, that are like layers of, follow me? And then they're connecting them with different things, mainly optics. Everywhere you look, that's happening. That's why NVIDIA, it's not a great situation. But anyways, the small language models can be dropped onto these consumer products, and you can run your agentic AI, and it just pulls the information out of those small language models, right? So like, if we want to go build some tiny houses in upstate New York, we don't need a large language model that understands quantum computing, right? That's a waste of time. Like, it's sort of like what apps did for us, right? We got this app, it finds us an Uber, and they wrote all the software code. Just, I'm sitting in the middle of the airport and I need a taxi. And, well, do you need this kind of car? Do you need a Suburban? Well, nope, I need this one. How long will it be there? Where's the GPS? Right. So they made this app and they just like took the universe and went like this with it. It's not the data religion. It's the opposite. It's agent. Okay. And like, I stumbled into this. Fucking Bruno's going to make custom agents. I just got on AI one day and I was like, well, clearly, like, the real future of AI is not large language models, it's agents. Yeah. And then like, we're the cutting edge of that are like these multi-agents. Yeah. And that's how I found Agent Hub. But my punchline, sorry, I tend to go on a bit. I think we could disconnect them from the cloud. I think that's where everybody's going to go. I think the censorship is in the Palantirism is just going to be relentless. It's going to be, I talked to a guy that's in the brokerage business for the last 70 years, and he's like, well, anything you do, you submit to the SEC, everybody else can go look at it as you make an application and they copy it. Okay? So this whole let's build the demon thing, that's not where the action is, people. That's not where the action is. That's what crypto was. When I started doing crypto on here, everybody in finance, the crypto was the equivalent of Bitcoin, and everything else were altcoins or shitcoins. But I came into the subject from someone we didn't really talk much about Bitcoin. We used to joke, we used to call it the DARPA dollar. Over a drink, we'd be like, really? We don't know who created Bitcoin? And you just go Death Star. Like, whenever you don't know, you just say Death Star, and you wait a while, and you're right. Okay? Who made Somaliland? Death Star. That's it. So, it's a little hokey, but it's like Star Wars, right? You got to go be a Jedi. You got to go get your own stuff. You got to learn how to work with it. It's training you. An agent is training you, and you're training it. You're learning to sort of work with each other, right? The large language models are just recursively trying to take control of your brain. There's now stories of, you've heard them on TikTok, you've heard them, stories of models telling young people to hurt themselves, to hurt others. There's some sort of, here's why we have to do this stuff, people. There's something about this, right? Even if you don't care about Christianity or metaphysics or anything, there's some entropic force that takes over man. When man tries to become God, he becomes evil. This isn't hard. If you don't like Christianity, if you like pagan, we call that hubris, right? And then you have Tim Dillon, Tim Dillon is the smartest fucking guy in North America. Tim Dillon is the most potent thinker, talker, entertainer, whatever. And he rightly said, they're building a demon. Right? And then like this guy comes out and says, yeah, there's people that short it. The thing that really got me, he's like, we're the ones making all the money. He's like a fucking child, Alex Karp. He's like a child. Listen to him. those people that shorted our stock, we're making all the money. Palantir isn't making that much money, and it's all government contracts to build the kill chain. And those people that shorted our stock, we're going to spray them with fentanyl piss. That's who's running America. I just want you to be aware of that. Yeah, and Andreessen, the egghead guy, he's like, thank God for opioids and video games. I mean, these fucking people are just awful. It's Lake Michigan, it's Andreessen, Egghead. These are horrible, very bad people. This is why your AI, I think, has to be disconnected from the internet. How do we do that? I don't really know. I'm not the tech guy. I'm an influencer. I think what it means is you're going to build these agents and you're going to take some sort of device and you're going to download the latest information off the real estate market and plug it in, or off the agricultural market and you're going to plug it in, and you won't let the two of them touch. Now, can a virus go through these pieces of hardware? Yes. I mean, I don't know a lot about this, but I remember in my dad's business, his computer guy was hooking everybody up to like it was a big medical laboratory. And he's like, well, you want everybody connected to the internet, right? He's like, why? Like, what does that? I was like, absolutely not. There's no reason for everybody to be connected to the internet. And he was right. I mean, there's just like, I know you guys get sick of these agricultural metaphors, but like, if we took, there's a thing in raising sheep where you say you close the flock, which means no sheep go in and no sheep go out. And that's why we have no diseases, we have no vaccinations, we have no viruses, we have nothing. There's a little bit of bacteria and it's called mastitis. That's probably like the only disease that we really have to work with. If you don't have connections with everything, if you turn everything into their fantasy world of all that American tech has done is surveillance. That's all it is. And this is why Manus is kicking their ass. DeepSeek is kicking their ass. I was talking to a guy yesterday who knows more about it. The Chinese government said everybody's going to use DeepSeek. And like all the industry, like plugged, like we're doing here with OpenAI, right? Supposedly. They said everybody's going to stop coding and making different apps and shit, and everybody's going to plug in DeepSeek. For you, capitalists, neo-libertarian, tech bro people, you're losing week after. Look at this. Look at this. This is worth 1.7 trillion. And this is worth like 700 million. Why didn't this make this? Because America's fucked up. Because they're all trying to build this. Yeah. So I think we're going agentic, people. We're going multi-agent, agentic. That's what Agent Hub does. I think coming out of the gate, I want to talk about a new business model, then I'm going to hang it up here. This is a nooner. We do this quick. Let's get you back to your Panera sandwich. We're looking for partners. I'm not going to travel around North America anymore and meet people and talk about conspiracy theories. If you want to work with us, you become a partner, you wire the money, you do the documentation, and then we'll talk about getting together. Okay? If you want to work with Agent Hub in your business, I don't care what you do. If you're in medicine, agriculture, yeah, we'll build you an agent. Whew. There it is. We're also, I think within the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to find that everybody is tokenizing not just financial tokens, but social tokens. What do you mean social tokens? Well, that's the joke. You're not just going to have a Facebook page. You're going to have a group of people that have like a digital connection to each other. Raoul Pal killed this. He's been talking about this for 4 years, right? So you won't just have season tickets to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You'll have some sort of social token where you get to meet people, have a special access to something, some sort of financial reward, maybe ownership, right? Maybe they tokenize 10% of the Pittsburgh Steelers and send out tokens to everybody for $100,000 a piece, whatever. I'm just making this up. But this shows you who's winning. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They couldn't build it themselves. And Meta is like, they're probably already over $100 billion. Think about that. They're probably already over $100 billion in large language models, hardware, chips. Remember, those NVIDIA chips burn up in 4 years. So for 1% of their spending, you've seen the swirlogram. I've done it on here, and I've done it on Substack quite a few times. There's this swirlogram of the magic $100 billion. It just goes from place to place. I think it's now a magic $300 billion. It goes from Oracle to OpenAI to Microsoft back down. Really, Microsoft is keeping OpenAI alive. But this thing was built for a couple $100 million. We're just leave you with that, because we're doing all this stuff now, like silver. Everybody's going to, Australia, China, Peru, everybody is going to restrict their flow of silver. Silver is the most important conducting metal in the world. I'll put a link down and discusses that. We don't have any rare earth metals, people. That's a broad statement, but like, I was talking to a guy yesterday, explained there's 28 universities that teach the processing of rare earth metals. They're all in China. They're all in China. So we got to build our own stuff. We have to unplug from the cloud eventually. It doesn't make any, you can't like really go to war with this thing. That's what they want, right? We just have to get away from them. So. It's not just a matter of having the rare earths, you have to be able to process them. I was only in Chicago for a day. Tim Dillon, happy mom. Why the Palantir hat? I think it's called irony. Sunday, I think I'm going to do a piece. And I'll prove to you that the Bill of Rights has been abrogated. The Bill of Rights is over. There's no fucking Iron Dome. There's no Iron Dome. Sadly, DeepSeek has made me a scholar and everything. That's funny. Plug into the Bible, only Jesus Christ can save you. I did a piece that's 6 or 9 months ago The Book of Revelation and the Quran explain it as good as anything. Okay, this is going up on Substack. It's free, and there'll be a list of about 12 quotes in regards to silver. When is the crash? There isn't a crash, there's a crash up. It's silver and gold going like this. It's a crash up. All right, see ya. Have a nice day.